this is a bit more interesting because there's only 3 slots due to NA's poor performance in at Dallas. There's only 3 slots. NA did not secure anyone for EWC through the Dallas qualifier because they didn't do well enough. So out of these 8 teams, there's only 3 that get to go, and there's actually a ton of high caliber teams here. We all know Toronto Defiant, Citrus Nation with the star of Lethal on their TSM, formerly Timeless. Second place, Stage 1, Luminosity Gaming, Dante False, all those guys, Maryville's collegiate team, Maryville's team, coached by Unter, M80, which has gone through quite a bit of roster changes, which we'll talk about.
A lot.
Shikigami, they're kind of I'd say Shikigami's one of the weaker teams in here. NRG Shock, formerly Students of the Game, and FMCL, which is Seeker's team, and somebody else, I think, but I really just know it as Seeker's team. So we're going to start off here, Toronto Defiant versus Citrus Nation. Now, I will give Citrus Nation credit here. They are perennially an upset team in the NA bracket. I mean, have caused upset after upset after upset. Now, I will say Toronto Defiant is a team that does not get upset, going 15-0 in the round robin, losing only 1 map. Yeah. This team doesn't get upset.
I don't think, yeah.
So,
especially not first round.
Toronto Defiant is gonna pretty much cruise there. I mean, it's not. I'm sure they would have liked to face another team that's not Citrus Nation, because it is scary to go up against a player like Lethal. But I mean, I don't think that Lethal's up to the job of the hard carry 1v5 against the Overwatch League former roster.
Champions.
Yeah, three of the Florida Mayhem World Champion roster. And I think this next match is really interesting. Luminosity Gaming, the Maryville team versus TSM Timeless. Luminosity's been having a rough go of it as of recently, but I am so horrifically low on Timeless personally. I'm an avid Timeless hater for no good reason other than I just don't think they're stellar.
The roster's not crazy. The Rocket and Chopper are solid.
I mean, Rocket and Chopper are good, but I'm just not. I just always find myself rooting against Timeless. Oh, we'll go score here, Adam. You thinking 3-0 here for Toronto?
Yeah, probably.
Okay. 3-0 here for Toronto. TSM versus Luminosity. This is the 4-5 matchup.
I'm thinking TSM has better damage, but Dante is a better tank. And I'd say their backlines are pretty even. Magic Maple and CJ versus Lucamino and Juby.
I think CJ's really good, personally.
She is quite good.
And I would love to see Luminosity Gaming run more into the aspect of like dive more, because I think their backline is like pretty much Lucio Kiriko, essentially one tricks, but this is tough, and it might be just
definitely tough.
It might be just my bias towards like the Luminosity players that I like more than the TSM players.
Definitely fair. I definitely feel like in terms of roster strength, TSM maybe has the slight advantage.
I think they do.
Like
they are the 4 seed.
Yeah, you have like veterans like Dante. And Lucamino's always a good player.
Yeah, but I think I mean I think obviously both these organizations would be disappointed if they didn't appear at the Esports World Cup. But I might give it to Luminosity just for fun. Really,
Yeah, I think this is a toss up.
we'll give it a 3-2. Luminosity, right there.
So these playoffs start Friday.
Yeah, and these will all be on live patches.
Okay, that's huge.
So, yeah. And then M80 versus Shikigami. M80 is going
I
through
think we gotta ride high on Collusion Tree.
yeah, quite a few roster changes. We'll go over those. They
Let's
added Kaluge and Tree. Tree finally
They
getting
also have
his
Nero on the roster.
shout. Yeah, well, I think Nero was a substitute for forever. I think he was just
Okay.
never. I think he might have been in like an assistant coaching role or something like that.
But
But
Nero and Tree are gonna be the DPS duo.
yeah, well, as of
Which is
right
gonna be
now,
interesting to see.
because Happy and Pelican have moved to inactive slots, and then Kaluge right now is being seen as the starting tank. So we've kind of thought of this as a as more of a get off my computer, please, thank you. As more of a kind of Ents like team where they could potentially just run the Sigma. We know Sigma's Kaluge's best hero. Nero fits a pretty similar role, just as not as good of a Kevster. And then Tree plays that role of Kai, where it's pure hit scan. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were moving towards a lane like that. But it's just how much successful they have on that. I think Shikigami is not a real test for that, so I think they will easily pass up this team. But it'll be interesting to see how they go about it, because we know the caliber of these players. We know that Cluj is good. You know, Overwatch League grand final team, an absolute run with American Tornado and everything in the Contenders series. He's a great player, and it's great to see him back on the scene after retirement. So yeah, I think this is. I mean, I can give Shikigami a map here if we want to. I could be convinced for that, but I don't think.
I don't think Kaluge misses a beat. I'll take the 3-0.
Really, you don't think Kaluge misses it? That might be the hottest take. That might be the hottest take of the whole thing right there.
If Kaluge was a stock, I'd be selling right now. That's how high I am on him. Or I guess I'd be buying.
You'd be buying 3-0. Adam is all in on Cole Huge.
I am, in fact.
That is.
I generally don't think I've ever seen Tree play in a professional Overwatch match, so I'll be hyped to see him as well.
Oh yeah, it's. I mean, it was unbelievable whenever he was making his rounds in Contenders. I mean, it just wasn't fair. It was not fair at all. And then NRG versus FMCL. NRG, formerly the Students of the Game roster that we just saw at Dallas. And Adam, remind me who is on FMCL. Is that's Seeker's team?
Seeker, Zira, Lep.
Okay. Lep. Okay.
Yeah. Seeker. Oh, Admiral.
This is okay. This is Admiral Lep.
Yeah, Admiral Lep.
CJ
Lep's
or not
on
CJ.
FMCL. What's Lep? Lep's on somewhere else. FMCL is Seeker, Zira, Ariel 2 is their tank, and then Admiral and ZSS is support line.
Oh, okay. So yeah, the Ariel tank is really good. I mean, he's really good. He's nothing to joke around with.
Really?
That's
huge.
Yeah. But I mean, I'm gonna go out on a crazy limb here and stand by something. I think NRG Shock has the most team chemistry, arguably, except Toronto Defiant. I think NRG Shock plays together the most. Like, just queue up 5-stack ranked go. I think they legitimately play the most as a team
They
together.
just have Infected is a very good tank. He was like a fucking beast in contenders.
Yeah, Infected
seeing him
is,
play Overwatch
is
League.
very good, and as much as PGE is memeable, I mean the kid's got talent. Like he's a good player.
Oh, he's good.
So
He's good. They have a Welsh DPS named W. Mamon.
oh yeah, W Waymon is he's a really good player.
Shout out Wales.
But I think Energy Shock wins this.
Yeah, I agree. They also have a very good backline.
Yeah.
Rack Attack Hal is a good backline.
As long as we can keep Rack Attack off of the Life Weaver,
he's looking like me and Silver out there.
They're fine. They're fine. I think this is what do you give? I think I give this a 3-1 here.
Yeah, I can see that. I'll say Seeker pops off and gets a map.
I mean, Seeker's good, but we haven't seen him doing those pop off moments near as much as we were. And then we come down to this lower bracket here, Citrus Nation versus TSM. This is the original upset of Citrus Nation. They beat Timeless. They knocked them out of the qualifiers for round 2 of NA in the OWCS group stages. Right? That was their big upset. And like I said in the Toronto Defiant matchup, I'm so unbelievably high on Citrus Nation and so unbelievably low on Timeless or TSM.
I can get behind that. I think we follow the storyline.
I'm incredibly biased. So
Zeb, but I feel like I saw Zeb was popping off.
I mean, if you can convince me otherwise, I would love to have Citrus Nation go through.
That's fine with me. I'm all down for a storyline.
And see TSM just burn. But I will give it a 3-2. Like I think this will be close for sure.
It's gonna be close.
And then that moves Citrus Nation on up. And then we can come down here to Shikigami versus FMCL.
Give me Seeker returning to form for a series 3-1 FMCL.
I'm down. 3-1 FMCL, he claims. And I am so unbelievably down. At the end of the day, that these teams, like these 5, 6, 7, 8 seeds, even the 4 seed, they know going into this that the top 3 qualify for EWC and that they're going to have to play out of their minds to get into that slot. I mean, really, we'll be honest, Toronto Defiant does not look beatable anywhere in this bracket. So you have pretty much the one locked up for Toronto Defiant. And your 2 and 3 are seeded as M80 and Energy Shock. Teams like FMCL, teams like Shikigami, it's just not likely. Even teams like Citrus Nation, it is just incredibly unlikely that they make it there. I mean, they could have an awesome round or 2 and get a little more prize money, but I mean, at the end of the day, they're not going to crack into this top 3 lineup. It's a 1% chance for any of that to happen. So here we'll go back up to Toronto Defiant versus Luminosity Gaming. And like we just touched on, I mean, I don't think this is close. Toronto Defiant lost 1 map in total through their near perfect group stage or round robin stage. So I mean, I think this
I don't think Luminosity is going to be a team getting the game off them.
No, I don't. The Luminosity wasn't before,
Yeah.
and I don't think they are now. Especially considering that Toronto Defiant knows what's on the line, having not having no one in NA performed well enough to secure any of the automatic bid spots at the major in Dallas.
Yep.
So there is pressure on these teams, unlike the EMEA teams. So, I don't think that this is the time to be thinking that Toronto Defiant can take it easy, and I know those players don't think that as well. Now, M80 versus NRG Shock is going to be super interesting.
It's gonna be awesome.
Because you've taken out the theoretical of GG, the Korean DPS are just better than us.
Yeah.
I think. No, I'm not saying that M80 gets significantly worse by replacing the Koreans.
Definitely with Nero in the lineup, it's a possibility. I feel.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, and we forgot to touch on the rumors that Spectra is coming back to replace Nero.
Spectra would be a much better. Spectra would be huge for M80.
Yeah, I mean, as we said, that we think Nero was in kind of a player coach role there as pure necessity of having a sub. We didn't see him play at all in anything before this, so we don't think he obviously he's a good player, but we don't think he's serious about making these runs into tournaments and actually competing for this team at that level. We think obviously he's good enough to scrape through the round robin tournament and have success there, but when you get into these levels, the competition is a bit different. What are you thinking here? M80, Energy Shock. We got Infected versus Kaluge. We got PGE versus Tree.
Honestly,
this is gonna be this is probably the match I'm most excited for.
It's just an awesome match, and I'm honestly, for one reason, there's one reason I'm leaning M80, and it's for the back line. I think Lyre Ultraviolet is a better back line than Rack Attack Cal.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that Ultraviolet is the best support player out of those four.
Yeah, for sure.
And I think that gives you an edge.
Also, PG and Ian Scissors are potential pop-off duo.
Yeah. But I think that Tree and Kaluge are gonna be.
Yeah, Tree and Kaluge could just fucking roll through this whole match.
They're gonna be ready, and I think
especially with Lyre Ultraviolet support line.
And I think that the rest of this team, and they also have Hawk still if they need Hawk on tank.
Yeah.
I think that this team going back to being purely NA based, even if they get Spectra knows English. Played very well with the Toronto Defiant back in the Overwatch League. I think it's going to alleviate some of those problems of the multilingualness that they were running into.
I think if Spectra gets picked up, M80 is the clear option.
Yeah. Other than that, I mean, I think that this team does have serious skill to be able to run that kind of Sigma May comp that we were seeing ran with Kevster on May and Vestal on Sigma and that comp just kind of running it on repeat. I think that is a clear option for these teams, and I think especially nobody in NA is doing that or looking at that. So I think that could be really successful. What do you give this matchup? Do you give it a 3-2? Do you give it a Mat 5 banger?
I'm hoping for a Mat 5 banger, so I'm gonna manifest it.
Manifest it. I'm down. And then we'll take Energy Shock. And I assume this flips once again. And we'll go down back to the lower end of the bracket. Energy Shock versus Citrus Nation. I'll be honest, I could never say that Citrus Nation is completely out of a game, with the exception of Toronto Defiant.
I don't think so either.
But I think Energy Shock is the
Definitely
3
still
seed for a
leaning
reason.
Energy Shock. Yeah.
I think Citrus Nation being the 8 seed was for a reason. I take Energy Shock here, but I doubt it's gonna be a sweep. I'll give Citrus Nation a map,
Yeah, sure.
and then Luminosity versus FMCL. I honestly, I've been disappointed with the Luminosity Gaming squad. I think it's their time.
I think it's their time to step up.
I think it's their time to step up. I think we're finally going to see this team put some matches together.
I would favor them in this match regardless of
Yeah.
whether I was high or low on them. FMCLs, yeah.
I'll give them a map. We'll give it 3-1 each. But, I mean, I really do think that this is Luminosity Gaming's kind of breakout time. I think it's finally time that this team puts all of the pieces together, because they're a good squad.
They are.
And they
It's
have
a solid roster.
Yeah. And,
Squid Juby and Lucamino are all very solid support players.
and Dante and False, and it's, I mean, you have experience. You have
For sure.
good
He was
players.
in the Overwatch League. Vision's a good player.
And you have Hunter as your coach. I mean, I think that all of the...
Honestly, Hunter as your coach is like alone that might make me want to pick them over NRG, just because Hunter's a fucking brilliant mind at the game.
It's just... This team has played so much Overwatch, right? They've played all of the collegiate bracket together. They've played... they have 2 years of collegiate together,
played in the Overwatch League.
So many of them played in the Overwatch League. They've been playing these OWCS tournaments. They have on repeat not gotten the results. I think it's finally time.
Map 5 banger, Luminosity over Energy.
I think that Luminosity beats Energy. We could be totally wrong, but like you said, we gotta pick some upsets. We gotta pick some craziness in these brackets.
Sure.
And Luminosity Gaming, I'm ready for them. I'm ready for them to make it. And then we have Toronto versus M80 in the upper bracket final. Adam, do you think this is close?
Probably not.
Do you think M80 gets a map this time?
I won't say they get a map this time around just because they're newer with playing with each other. So we'll say try to find 3-0, but if M80 makes it to the championship through the lower bracket, I could definitely see them pulling some maps.
I agree. I think this isn't the time for, again, Toronto Defiant to be doing anything crazy. This is the last match that, technically matters for them. Once they lock it in the through the grand final, both teams that get to the grand final win and move on, and just in the lower bracket final again, M80 and Luminosity Gaming, that would mean all three of them lock up the spots to the Esports World Cup. Energy Shock falling short, and to go back to that, I do think the pressure is going to get to those players.
Fair.
Their poor performance in Dallas, new backing with a new org, and feeling the pressure, the necessity to perform, especially through the lower bracket. You lose to this M80 team, the 2 seed. Luminosity loses to the 1 seed, Toronto Defiant, and all of these teams fight through this lower bracket, knowing they have to be perfect. And I think that I think going back to the lower bracket quarterfinal, the Shock versus Citrus Nation, I think this match might be more of a scare for Shock and kind of freak them out and tire them out a little bit more than FMCL is going to tire out Luminosity Gaming. I think this is going to give Luminosity more confidence than anything, and this is going to freak the Shock out more than give them confidence. and then leading in, I think Luminosity is going to be on a high, and Energy Shock is going to be on a low, and I think that's also going to play a role in there. But moving back to M80 versus Luminosity Gaming, who do you got here? I mean, at the end of the day, this match, really doesn't matter except for prize money.
Yeah.
I'll take M80.
Yeah.
What do you say? 3-1?
Yeah, I can see that.
And then moving M80 right back on up for the rematch with Toronto Defiant, second time around. What are we thinking?
Honestly, probably like 4-1.
Yeah, like I again think that I think that M80 got.
M80's gonna need more time. I think M80 could definitely turn it around by the time.
By time for EWC.
Yeah.
But I think that they're gonna have a few growing pains, and I think that they've made themselves less flexible with the addition of Tree, who's like primarily a hit scan player, and Nero, who has, if we remember from Overwatch League, he played for the Guangzhou Charge and the Shock.
And the Rain.
I remember him having a very limited hero pool. Am I crazy for thinking that?
So
I remember him as like a
sometimes
May Echo player.
Yeah, he would play May Reaper.
Yeah.
Sometimes Echo, sometimes Genji, and then he's
I
he's like
remember
a fucking
Genji.
Dwarf specialist also.
It's that's the very odd hero pool.
He was like the backbone. He was like the wacky heroes.
I think a team like Toronto Defiant kind of just owns that.
Yeah.
Like in all.
They definitely need Spectra.
In all politeness, but
he needs Spectra solely for the fact of Tracer.
Yeah, I think Nero can play the Tracer if I'm not mistaken, but I mean,
just get hard diffed by most of these Tracers out here.
But like I said, if they run that kind of Sigma centric comp that
that's fair.
That ENCE runs, I could see them finding a bit of success with that. Then there we have our 3 EWC qualifiers for the NA region: the Toronto Defiant, M80, and Luminosity Gaming over Energy Shock for that.
Bronze Boys stamp of approval.
Bronze Boys stamp of approval. That is what we got on it. So that is it for us here. The episode 1 of the Bronze Boys, the Bronze Boys bracket breakdown. It's been fun. Thanks for doing this with me, Adam.